Hello everyone, Carol Undy here again, and today I'm looking at the Art Canvas part of our software. Now, some of you have already got a lot of skills in using graphics software, and to be honest, I don't use the Art Canvas an awful lot apart from importing pictures and moving on to manually digitizing in the software. But for those of you who only have Editor Plus, and you may notice that I have Editor Plus open here today, you don't have manual digitizing tools in your embroidery canvas. I'll just go and have a look. So your tools are limited here. You can, however, edit your embroideries, and so you probably will make more use of the Art Canvas to produce automatically digitized embroideries, which you will then edit and improve and then embroider out. So, and some of you in Designer Plus will benefit from this as well. So let's go back to the Art Canvas. Now, in Art Canvas we can just load a picture that we already have, and most of you would be familiar with this. I've covered this in earlier videos, and I'm going to put a list up on my website of videos that relate to the Editor Plus part of the software. So even though they've been done in Designer Plus, that they're still relevant to Editor Plus. So once this video has been published, you'll be able to go to my website and know which other videos you should be watching, which will cover loading a picture, for instance. But today I'm going to actually use some of the drawing tools. Now, as I said, I don't use the software all that much myself, but I've got a few little tips for people who've really struggling, so we'll start straight away. Now, you can draw in lots of ways in the Art Canvas. You can freehand draw. You can draw a shape. Now here I've got the ellipse showing, but there is a little pop-out menu. So you can draw a rectangle, an ellipse, a polygon, a star shape, graph paper, or a spiral. I'm not going to cover all these today, but we will certainly use the ellipse. And same, there's a pop-out menu for the drawing tool, so you can use freehand draw, artistic media, pen, or smart drawing. And as I said, I'm just going to use the freehand draw later on today. Okay, you can also choose from a number of basic vector shapes, and if we click out, you can use arrow shapes, banner shapes, call out shapes, or bubble shapes, and some other basic vector shapes, and we'll probably be using we will be using the basic vector shapes too today. Okay, so let's get started, and we're going to start with a basic vector shape. Now, once you've chosen the basic vector shape menu here, item here, if you go up to the top, you'll see a perfect shapes icon, and if you click on that, left click on that, it'll bring out the different shapes you can use under that tool. I'm quite fond of this teardrop shape. It's quite versatile, so we're going to use that to start with, and I'm going to left click on that and choose it, and then I'm going to left click on my screen to activate it, and then left click and drag to create it. Okay, so that's how easy it is to create a shape. Now, the shapes are limited in what you can do with them. Let's get out of the tool. As you can see, I've still got the shapes attached to my cursor, so I need to go back up to the select tool, and I've got one node here, and that's all. If I go around, I can find the edge, and I've got the center, but I've only got one node. So the only thing I can do with this shape is change its size, or either width only, and each time you do it, your select buttons will disappear. Just left click on again and again to get back your ordinary nodes. You can resize diagonally to do it in scale like you can in your software, and you can shorten or make it fatter. Okay, I'm going to bring it back quite a bit fatter. Alright, now you can change this shape to a curve by going up to arrange, I think it is, yes, the arrange menu, and come down and click on convert to curves, and immediately now we've got more nodes. So now it's no longer a shape, now it is a curved, closed curved object with nodes that we can do things with. So we can now go to our reshape vector object tool, and we can move those nodes just like we can in our embroidery software. Okay, so we can change the shape altogether. That's why I like working with shapes to start with, because you've got something you can work with and then you can really play around with it. Okay, now you'll notice on the ends of these nodes we have arrowheads. Now if I pull on the arrowhead, it will twist the node, and the line will go in a contour in the direction of the arrowhead, but towards the next node. So you can see it's curved up here because this arrow is going up. If I shorten this arrow by grabbing it and pulling it, the actual amount of curve will diminish, so it's actually flatter. If I lengthen it, I'll get a stronger curve. Still got to flip back though and meet up with this node, but I've actually got a much deeper curve. So you can not only move these arrows, but you can lengthen and shorten them, which will have an effect on your shape. The other thing you can do is change the type of node. At the moment, if I move one arrowhead, the opposite arrowhead moves in the opposite direction. Okay? If we go up to our toolbar here, we have different types of node points, and this one here, if we left click on that while this node is selected, and you can see this node is selected because it's darker and bigger than these other nodes. Okay, so while that's selected, change the type of node to this one, and then you can turn your arrows independently. Okay, so once all of a sudden you've got lots more options. If you want to select a different node, just click on the next node. You'll get both arrowheads, and the nearest arrowhead from the two closest nodes will be there as well. So again, this is a double-headed node. If I turn it that way, both arrows are going to move. So I'm going to change this node as well to this double type of node, so I can bring this one in and bring my arrows out individually. Okay, now this one up the top is already, oops, sorry, I've lost my tool, let me go there. Okay, this one up the top is already a double-headed node, so I can move individually. Now if I wanted to change that from a double-headed node to a smooth node, I can do that, and I can always undo. So these different types of nodes, the double-headed node can be changed to either of these two. I'm not quite sure actually, to be honest, what the difference is between the two. I think one of them, let me see, that one I can shorten the ends, and this one I can too. I have to do a bit more research to find out about that. They seem to behave very similarly to me, but basically just play around with those nodes till they do what you want them to do. So I'm going to change this back to a double-headed, what I call a double-headed node, and turn those up. Now if you want to add an extra node in, let's just get this side looking a bit the same as the other side first. Okay, so you can see my two arrows here are pointing towards a point somewhere over here, so this curve has to form pulling out towards that imaginary point to get from one node to the other because of these arrows. Now if I want to add another node, I can, and all I have to do is click on the line till I get this little black mark here. I'll zoom in so you can see that. Oh, the mark stays the same size, but trust me, there's a little black mark on the outline here. And then I just have to go up here where it allows me to add that as a node. So left click on that and I've got another node. And again, it's a smooth node, so I'm going to change it this way. And I'm going to zoom back out again. And I'm going to pull that node up there. And that's the desired effect I want. And I think you might see where I'm going to from here. I'm going to make a butterfly. So I'm going to add another node over here by left clicking to get my little black mark and then adding the node. Okay. So you can play around with the shape until you're happy with what you've got. It doesn't have to be absolutely symmetrical. Alright. Now at the moment it's just an outline. And the thickness of the outline is the default, whatever you've got your software defaulting to. So if you want to increase the thickness of this line so that the software is going to pick it up, I find you need at least about a 2mm line to get a nice satin outline if you want a satin outline. So I'm going to go back to my select tool, okay? And then once you've got the select tool open, you've got a different set of tools along here. And if you come along, this one here shows you the thickness of the outline, and it says 0.2mm. I'm just going to change that to 2mm. Alright, so now I've got a much thicker outline. But I've got no fill in there, and I'd like a fill. So I just need to come over while that's selected and choose my fill. Majestic purple, of course. Alright, now I need a body for the butterfly. So this time, none of those shapes up here, if I choose my shape tool again, and I look at the shapes available, none of those look like they're going to lend themselves to being the body of the butterfly very easily. So I'm going to actually choose the ellipse tool instead. And it's just left click on the workspace to activate the tool, and then left click and drag your ellipse. And I haven't got an ellipse for some reason. I've gone back to the shape tool. Okay, there's no drama when you find this happening to you. Just do undo. It was probably because I still had the butterfly selected. So I'm going to go back now and choose my ellipse tool. And now I've got the little ellipse next to my cursor. So now I know I've got the right tool. So I'm going to just left click and drag. Sometimes it works the first time, and other times I have to left click twice. I'm not quite sure why that is, but if it happens to you, just left click twice till it actually drags the shape. Now this shape, I don't want to have an outline, I just want to fill, and I want it filled with black. So we're going to straight away put the fill in first while it's selected. So I'm going to go over here, fill it with black, and then up here in your outline you've got the option of having none. And if you look down here, we've got a black fill and none in the outline colour. Alright, now I'm not happy with the position of that, so I just want to move it. While it's selected, I can just left click and drag it to wherever I want. Undo. I've still had my ellipse tool, didn't I? Undo. Let's select it. Left click on it to select it, or you could select it over here in your Object Manager menu. Now these are usually docked down the side here. If it isn't showing, you can always open your Object menu, so you can swap between objects by clicking here as well. So that was the purple wings of the butterfly, and if I go to the black ellipse, that will be selected. And then I've got my little moving cursor. I can move that into a better place. Right, I might just like to rotate that. So when you've got your select on, your second click will give you your rotation buttons, and I'll just rotate that a little bit and move it just a fraction. till I'm happy with the position. Okay, now I'm going to add some antenna, and for that I'm going to use the Freehand tool. So I'm just going to select it. Now up here you've got a tool for smoothing, and it's defaulted to 100%. If I click on that little slider there, I can slide this down to 0 smoothing or up to 100. I prefer to work with the 100 smoothing because I'm a bit shaky with my hand drawing freehand lines, and basically what it means is it takes out unnecessary nodes when you're drawing. So as you see there, it didn't work, so I need to click again and drag again. There we go. There's one antenna. It's a bit big. I'm going to select it and reduce its size a little bit. Okay, and now I'm going to choose my Freehand tool again, and draw my other antenna. Alright, now I would like both those. I've drawn another line, haven't I? Undo. I would like both those to be a thicker line, so I'm going to select them and I'm going to make them one at the, instead of 0.2 millimeters, they're going to be 1 millimeter thick. That's it. And then select the other one and make that 1 millimeter thick as well. Alright, so here's a little butterfly. Now you can make him even more interesting by adding some more circles. And I'm going to fill that one with yellow, and I'm going to remove the outline. Okay, now if I want more dots, I can also copy and paste. And you can see here in my object manager, there's my second ellipse. If I click on that, that one's selected, I can then move that to wherever I want. Oops. Undo, select it, and now I've got my move tool, move it over. Just watch your cursor that the right things are on when you try to do things. So whatever's attached to your cursor, for instance the move tool, if I just paste another one here, paste. Okay, there's my third ellipse. Select that, and it's actually over here. Bring my tool over, and it turns into the four-headed arrow move tool, so I know I can safely drag that. And I'm going to paste another one and select it and move it. Okay, you could go on decorating your butterfly to your heart's content. Once you've got your whole butterfly sorted, you can then auto-digitize it, and in version 6 it is so easy. It's just a matter of selecting the edit and select all, and convert vectors to embroidery. And there we have it. There's our butterfly. Now if there's anything you're not happy with in this part of the embroidery, you can then start to change it. For instance, it's a very big butterfly. It measures 109.7 centimeters by 107.3, so that's about 4 and a bit inches by 4 and a bit inches, which is a bit big for me, so I'm going to resize the whole lot down to about a 2-inch butterfly, and I'm just going to move the whole thing into the middle for you. And I'd like to change the body to a satin stitch, so I'm going to select the body only and change that to a satin, and perhaps the little circles, and if I select the yellow colour here, I'll get them all at once, and change that to a satin. Okay. You can also zoom in and check your stitch angles on your outline. Sometimes they come out nicely and other times they're not so good, but this one looks pretty good. So for those of you with Editor Plus, you can create your own individual embroideries from your own artwork, and also Designer Plus of course as well. So I hope you have fun playing around with that, and I'll do something a little bit more complex in the art canvas next time. Thank you.